Hello everybody, it is Al Knight, it is Brony time, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. This is my fourth attempt at recording this intro. But, when we last left off, we had just finished interrogating the witnesses in the stand to what exactly they saw. And through that, we realized that there may have indeed been more than one passenger, and of course, Magnus McGilda confirmed this, and they set off a smoke grenade in the courtroom. And now we just got through explaining who this girl is, and yeah, let's see what's gonna happen. Let's see what's gonna happen. One secundo. There we go. Who is this girl? Her name is Gina Lestrade, my lord. She's a chancer, earns a crust among large crowds, relieving people of their purses. What's commonly called a pickpocket. What? This girl here? A petty thief? Get her off the stand! We can't believe a word she says! Order! Order! Is this true, Miss Lestrade? Miss Lestrade, you will answer the question. Oh! Oh, I'm bleeding out! Oh! Oh my god. How dare you! What is the meaning of all this? The girl, she's gone. Open your eyes. I'm over here. Good gracious, how... What was the point in that little sidestep? Because it looks cool. It was an animation they were proud of. I know what you lot are thinking. Grown-ups are all the same. This dirty little dipper, y'all... No, sorry. Y'all say... I'm sorry, I'm Texan. This dirty little dipper, you'll say, slipped up and got caught on the job. She got herself backed into a corner, so she knifed the gent. Go on, that's what's in your heads, is it, ain't it? God dang it, I'm sorry, it's gonna take me a while. No, not at all. This is a court of law. We're here to determine the truth, not cast... Oh, I'm dying. Oh, God, why is my blood green? Look, knives are for cowards. Only thugs use weapons like that. All I need for what I do is these fingers. I'm a professional, alright? Maybe not in your eyes, but I got pride in what I do. Let me guess, you don't count smoke guns among weapons for thugs. Oh, this? Yeah, this was in the bag I lifted the other day. Down where they keep the four-wheel drags. It's nice, isn't it? I like the pink best. God, do not wave that thing in my direction again! So, you admit that you were riding the omnibus on the night in question. Tis alright, lass. You can tell them the truth now. Alright, yeah. It's just like the Irishman said. The court accepts this girl, Miss Gina Lestrade, as a valid and significant witness in this case. Accordingly, young lady, we will now hear your testimony, if you please. You will tell the court exactly what happened in the omnibus on the night in question. Alright, if I have to. So snuck inside the carriage before they hooked up the horses, just like all our horses. Fuck. So hard. Reading it is so hard. So I snuck inside the carriage before they hooked up the horses, just like always. It was right a waste of time. I got nothing to show for me troubles that night. I'll tell you can't see a blind thing in that hiding place. It's pitch in there. Then after a while, I hear this loud bang. Nearly jumped out my skin, I did, and the screen just came out. It's because of that the swell found me. It did help me get away, mind. Yes, he let you go. I fail to understand. Why would you let this street urchin go, Mr. McGilden? Oh, 'tis simplicity itself, my lord. I'm pretty sure I already explained this. You see, she couldn't possibly have killed the other passenger. I knew that for a fact. How? As I'm sure I said before, sir. I was sitting right on top of the place where she was hiding herself. I think a demonstration is called for. This is where I was sat that night. God dang it, now I get their voices mixed up. And the cubbyhole of which you have spoken is underneath this seat, I presume? Yes, it does appear just large enough to accommodate someone of this girl's stature. Aye, but of course, the wee lass was stuck in there. Because I parked myself on the seat for the duration. Oh! So you see, that's why I let the lass bolt. I knew that if the police found her there, they'd automatically assume she'd done it. But I couldn't live with myself if a young life was ruined when all the time I knew she was innocent. Even though you must have realized your action would result in your own innocence being called into question. Not at all, my lord, not at all. I knew it in my own heart that I was innocent. So I thought it was worth taking a punt on my own good name for the sake of this less fortunate lass. My goodness. What a perfect gentleman. My lord, this fine example of a man cannot possibly be guilty of a heinous crime like this. I'm ashamed of myself for ever doubting you, sir. With calm, calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time, and totally no emotion whatsoever. Facts don't care about your feelings. Moving on. Saints alive! All 6 members of the jury consensual in their leaning to a verdict of not guilty. Okay, thank you. Please give me my not guilty verdict. We're done. Mr. Naruhodo, it must mean... It must mean what? That we're victorious. We've won? Are you sure?
Objection!
Oh, damn, there it is! Oh, if the sight of my iron-heeled Wellington offends, pray do forgive the discourtesy. This really is a consummate example of the one monumental flaw in British judicial practices. Where evidence and reasoning should be paramount, emotions rule the day. Facts don't care about your feelings. Emotion? The witness's latest statement gives us a clear insight into his true nature. What do you mean, his true nature? Do you really think Scotland Yard would have made such a glaring omission? After the incident, the omnibus was comprehensively searched by officers of the police. Obviously, the interior of this cubbyhole, as the witness put it, was included in their investigation. The compartment under the posterior seat was full of the coachman's belongings. It's notched in black and white here in the police report. Good Lord! The evidence has been tampered with. In order to corroborate Mr. McGilded's story, someone has unlawfully removed everything from under the seat. What? Order! Order! How could such a devious contrivance possibly have been effected, Counsel? Naturally, we must acknowledge the deficiencies of the constabulary in allowing this to have happened. However, I assure you, when the omnibus was wheeled into the courtroom this morning, the compartment under the seat was not empty. Well, my Nipponese friend? Me? When the carriage was submitted as evidence, doubtless you examined it in fine detail, as would any self-respecting practitioner of the law. Pray, what did you find the condition of the underseat compartment to be? Oh, to be sure, the young gentleman would be able to clear this up in a jiffy. Sorry. Go ahead, you tell the court now, fella. Oh, this is all an elaborate excuse by the desperate Lord Van Zinks. Well, Counsel, do you have something to say on this matter? How am I supposed to answer? What can I say about the state of that little compartment under the seat in the omnibus? Well, knowing, the Ace Attorney series is all about finding the truth. Now, we could say I didn't look, lie, and say oh, I didn't look, but that will make us look like quite the dunderhead for not, examining our evidence. It wasn't empty will help us win. Oh no, it was empty will help us win the case, but that's a lie, and we're all about truth. So I think we be truthful and say it wasn't empty. I really don't know if giving this answer is helping my case as counsel for the defense, but as far as I remember at least. When I first examined the compartment, I'm fairly certain there were a number of articles inside it, yes. Oh, are you sure, Counsel? Ought to be whist! What are you saying now, you daft daw? I thought you were on my side here. Oh, Van Zeke's like, what? He actually... What game are you playing? Your task is to defend the man in the stand. Why would you say something to compromise his position? As the advocate for the defense in this trial, I confess I'm still not entirely sure where I stand. But it seems to me that I should state what facts I do know as clearly and honestly as possible. Interesting. 'Tis not altogether pleasing, fella. I'm simply telling the truth, Mr. McGilded. Well, don't forget that you're supposed to be representing my best interests here, lad. Oh yeah, totally not even. Now then. A fella's memory is a curious thing, and not altogether reliable. No, the court must consider the facts. That there cubbyhole under the seat is as empty as the devil's heart, so it is. Do you think perhaps it would be in your best interest now to admit that you might have been mistaken? Why? Why do I feel like something's not right here? Because something's not right here. I should like the jury to weigh in on this matter, I think. That compartment is designed to house equipment and to maintain smooth running of the carriage. The Guild's rules state that the omnibuses should be properly and fully equipped at all times. So it certainly wouldn't have been empty on the night in question. Beppo isn't that irresponsible. That money-lending fleecer and pick-purse are lying. I can't believe I was nearly taken in. The stinking rich are always stinkers. Nothing but cowards, the lot of them. What? No. It's a trick. Of course it's a trick. Quite so. I must concur here. Here we go again. With calm, calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time. Yes, but every time a different truth, it seems. My lord, I humbly exhibit the scales of justice. Clearly, a verdict of not guilty at this time would be wholly inappropriate. Thank you, counsel. Before we proceed any further, there is the matter of the outstanding cross-examination. Counsel for the defense, begin your questioning of the witness, please. Yes, my lord. What just happened? The whole balance of the trial just shifted. Almost beyond recognition. The Reaper of the Bailey is at work, it would seem. Now, I do want to stop here and talk about Manzeek's. This is one of the points. I'll occasionally stop and talk when I want to give my opinion on something. Beric von Zeeks is a racist asshole. He is not a good person. That much is very clear. At least at this point in the story, we're not gonna scratch over that. There's no defending the shit he said, and so yeah, that out of the way. But he is not corrupt as a prosecutor himself, because so far he has had the evidence. He has the police report. He's reading off what he has, what he knows. There's been no updated autopsy report. There's been none of that. So, in terms, racist, bad person. In a professional capacity, good prosecutor. At least so far. Of course, that racism might, show its head if he was prosecuting, for instance, a Japanese defendant. That there is that risk, though. Having those kind of prejudices, you should not be in a position like prosecutor, though. Anyway, now we get to the cross-examination. And when Mr. McGill discovered you, he pulled you out from your hiding place. I was scared stiff, I was. He dragged me out and sat me down on the seat and all. Sorry, excuse me. Next to the victim, Mr. Mason. Yeah, the bloke had a knife in his guts. He was still bleeding. Then the carriage lurched a bit and he ended up falling onto me. Ugh, how awful. Both of my hands got covered in blood. Made me feel sick as a dog. Both her hands covered in blood. That must be what the rooftop passenger saw. After that, I believe you talked with Mr. McGilded for a while. Is that correct? He asked me some stuff. Want to know me name and what I was up to and that. Then I heard Then I heard something from above. Someone screamed. I'm sorry, it's not gonna be perfect. Reading like slang for like anything is much harder. Like, I could probably say it if I wasn't looking at it written, but when it's written, like, it can be challenging. Yes, Mr. First on the roof deck would presume, and it does make sense since Cockney came from, like, I'm sure a lot of people didn't have education. So they developed there was no writing of it, like, so it was all developed vocally rather than, you know, written down. At least I could be wrong about that. Correct me in the comments if you wish. Yes, Mr. First on the roof deck, one would presume. Well, I didn't want no one seeing my face, so I didn't look up. Then the horses were drawn up smartish, and this here Irishman says to me, "Get back under the seat. I'll see that you can get away later." All 6 members of the jury have decided the defendant was innocent. For one brief shining moment, yes. It's clear that they are still very unsure. If we could just find some conclusive piece of evidence among the new testimony, I'm sure we could clinch the verdict we want. Yes, I think you're right. I have this niggling feeling. Something's bothering me, but I just can't quite put my finger on it.
Hold it!
So you couldn't see out the cabin at all? Not a jot. Most days I'll push the cushion up with me head and look out the crack. Then I can have a butcher's at who I'm gonna fiddle. I thought you were a pickpocket, not a butcher. I mean, can't have a look. See, I've got under as plush as the other one, see? So most of the time, the passengers just plat themselves opposite. But for some reason that night, this here Irishman spent the whole journey right over me head. And for that reason, you weren't able to push the cushion up to peek out, I see. Truth is, I ain't too happy in small dark places. Feels too much like being thrown in the clink.
Excuse me.
Is something wrong, Mr. McGilvert? Oh, I do apologize. Was there something the matter, Counsel? I'm just wondering, Mr. Lestrade's last comment made something occur to you, perhaps? You seem to be thinking something to yourself. Oh, no. 'Twas nothing important. I was feeling bad for the poor lasses all. I remember feeling desperate myself as a young lad, shut up in the dark. 'Twas terrifying, so it was. I see, yes, I'm sure we can all sympathize. Still scared of the dark now. Same. I don't know about self, but I find that the darkness seems to make everything you hear seem that much louder as well. Yeah. I suppose it does. Maybe. Miss Lestrade, did you hear something that night? Anything? An unusual noise, perhaps? No, not really. All I could hear was the Irishman snoring. But jeepers, there's no need to tell the whole world of me foibles, you little scamp. What a pity. Only Mr. Lestrade had heard something. It might have given us a vital new clue. Yes. What should we make out of the last statement of hers? Well, it's very important. My lord, I believe the statement just made by the witness is profoundly important. Profoundly important? But all she said was that she heard nothing. Yes, which is the profoundly important point. I'm almost sure of it. I'm almost sure that I don't understand the inner workings of your Eastern Mind Council. Nevertheless, Miss Gina Lestrade, you will supplement your formal testimony, by repeating the last statement, please. What supplement? What are you on about? Don't give me all your fancy talk. I know what you're trying to do. Well, it won't work on me. That's right. Insult the judge. Always a good move.
Hold it!
So you were straining to hear what was happening the entire time, since the moment you hit yourself? Not exactly, no. Sorry? Well, there was no one in the cabin to start with. I could just push the cushion up and have a butcher's to see what was what. But then when I saw the smoke getting on, I got my head down so he didn't notice me. Oh, I'm sorry. God, I'm trying not to slip into Irish. Like, it's really teetering. And Mr. McGilded sat on the seat under which you were hiding, correct? Yeah, would you Adam and Eve, eh? What a mug! So then all I could do was listen. I was waiting to jump out of there as soon as I heard him leave, see? But would he? Not likely. Even though he stopped here and there, I never heard the door open. So I just had to stay put and listen to him driving his pigs to market, snoring like an old dog he was. That smile is so fake. Are there any conclusions we can draw from that, I wonder? Miss Lestrade, what you have just told the court is clearly at odds with the facts. At odds? Are you sure, man? Absolutely. It seems my learned Nipponese friend is not as dull-witted as I feared. So Van Zeeks realized it too. Counsel, I must insist that you bolster your claim with evidence, or some complicit party's name at the very least. Yes, my lord. I expect you to demonstrate this alleged contradiction to the court. According to Miss Lestrade, while she was hiding in the omnibus that night, she heard nothing but the sound of Mr. McGilded snoring. But think, Renoski, think! There's something else she should have heard. This one is quite obvious. Very well, my lord. Allow me to elaborate. On a particular sound that Miss Lestrade could not have failed to hear on the night in question. The sound very clearly explained by the presence of the following person.
Take that!
Thrice-fired Mason? Yes, my lord. The sound that Miss Lestrade cannot have failed to hear is that of the victim, Mr. Mason, boarding the omnibus. Order! Order! Explain your reasoning, counsel. Miss Lestrade, allow me to confirm something. You claimed earlier that you were the first person on board the omnibus. Is that correct? Yeah, of course I was. I got on while the driver was in the pub, didn't I? And the next person to board the omnibus was Mr. McGilden. That it was. Not a soul was in the cabin when I climbed aboard. At least not in plain sight. So you were, to all intents and purposes, alone in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus at the time. Did I not just say as much? I wasn't travelling with anyone else, if that's what you mean. Yeah, I saw him get on, remember? Through the crack under the seat cushion. He was on his own for sure. And from what we've heard, the carriage made a number of stops after that on its onward journey. During which time, did you not hear the door opening or closing at all? Nah, I never heard it. That's exactly what I was listening for, weren't it? Waiting for the swell to leave. In which case, when and how did the victim end up in the carriage? Oh! We know that the victim collapsed inside the enclosed cabin of the omnibus. Therefore, Mr. Stark's statement about what she said, what she did, or did not hear, is at odds with the facts. Yes, this petty thief's statement was clearly flawed. Lord Van Zeeks! Yes, he knew all too well that there was an inconsistency in Mr. Stark's statement. It would seem words of thanks are in order for my learned friend. What are you talking about? You have demonstrated matters impeccably. This witness and her colorful statements are entirely unreliable. Her words are convenient untruths, nothing more. He's dead right. How could the victim possibly not have boarded the omnibus? That makes no sense whatsoever. And this girl's a pickpocket. Let's not forget that. She didn't even say anything. I didn't want to judge the dear little mite just because she has some rather naughty ways. But I must say, I can't abide liars. And neither can I. Mr. Foreman, I didn't want to judge a girl just because she has some less than salubrious ways. But I must say, I cannot abide liars. Mr. Nahodo, that's 5 jury members leaning towards guilty. Well, your consideration for others is refreshing, Nipponese friend. To the considerable troubles you have spared me. Yes, very refreshing. Ah! Girl, what are you playing at? Have you forgotten who you're working for, you useless Eastern Amadon? This is carnage. It's perfect. Drew number 2 is the only one left. Mr. Nahodo, the way this is going, I know, if we can't find some new way to convince everyone of Mr. McGilden's innocence, the judge will rule, and we'll have lost. I very much wanted to believe the words of one of London's most respected gentlemen. But those of us in service know we must accept hard truths.
Hold it!
Yes, the witness's last statement seems to have revealed a critical inconsistency in her story. However, if we consider the possibility that her statement is in fact the truth, it may shed an entirely new light on this whole case. What are you saying? Counsel? I'm sorry, sir. Whatever do you mean? Counsel, I will not tolerate you attempting to prorogue my adjudication. I'm sorry. Explain yourself at once. When the accused boarded the omnibus on the night in question, the victim was nowhere to be seen. Subsequently, the carriage door was not heard opening a single time, as testified by the witnesses in the stand. Yet the victim's body was found inside the carriage. If this petty thief's words are to be believed, how do you explain the victim's miraculous appearance inside the cabin of the omnibus? So no wonder you'd explain how the victim came to be inside the carriage. If the door wasn't open even once, the only explanation is that the victim entered the enclosed cabin some other way. I've wondered what new fantasy you would come up with in your blind panic. But behold, the omnibus is here for all to see. Only one side of the enclosed cabin is furnished with a door. The other has only windows. Fixed windows which cannot possibly open. In short, there is no entrance to the cabin other than the door. But there could be. There's one possibility you haven't considered. Oh, really? Yes, one other way inside that isn't the door. Another opening, the use of which allowed the victim to appear inside the enclosed cabin. Alright, counsel. The defense will identify the location for the court. Here is the omnibus in which the incident occurred. Where on earth is the entrance by which you propose the victim entered the cabin? Well, it's the skylight. The answer is obvious. It could only have been the skylight. I say, the skylight?
Objection!
Your ludicrous proposal almost has me lost for words. However,
Objection!
The skylight may well be large enough for someone to pass through. So you claim. But do you have a shred of evidence to support your addle-brained theory? Both Mr. McGilded and Miss Lestrade said the same in their testimonies. They each claimed to have heard a loud thud, such as the noise made by someone falling to the floor. Yes, which has already been explained, as the sound of the victim falling from his seat having been assaulted with the dagger. Yes, it has, but would a man slipping from the seat onto the floor really have made such a loud noise as the witnesses described? A noise loud enough to cause Miss Lestrade to let out an involuntary cry, in fact. Good gracious! Perhaps, in fact, that was the moment that the victim made his entrance into the cabin. No, let me rephrase that. The victim didn't enter the cabin as such. He fell into it.
Objection!
You're now suggesting that the victim fell from the skylight into the cabin. That's simply impossible. How can you be so sure? Because if the victim had fallen inside through the skylight, as you say, the passengers on the roof deck would have seen it happen. And yet, not one person made mention of such events in their testimony. Well, yes, that's true, but... Hold it! Might a humble fella make a wee comment here? Mr. McGilded? To be sure now, the two fellows who were sat on the roof that testified afore said nothing of the victim falling through the skylight. But it seems to me, my lord, that 'tis not so much a case of them not saying, but... 'tis a case of them being unable to say. What? I think perhaps the two fellas do be having something of a compelling reason, not to mention what happened. Would you not agree, fine ladies and gentlemen of the jury? Oh my goodness, surely not. Those two chaps on the roof. You mean the ones who stuck the knife in the man were? Ah! Hold it! Just what exactly are you insinuating here, you blitherer? You rotter, he said! You rotter! What are you insinuating? This is a flaming outrage! I've a good mind to give you a blinker in a minute. He'll give you a shot in a minute, he said. And so will I. Mr. Fairplay. You are effectively accusing me, a city gentleman and well-respected banker. And me, a very angry hatter. Suggesting that someone like me could have stabbed that man in the guts. It's a disgrace. It's scandalous. It's... Ah! I protest. I protest in the strongest possible terms. That's right, I'll protest too. About you, you rotten scoundrel. Order! 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 This is not the time, witnesses. I will not permit this wanton invasion of the stand. Return to the anteroom at once. But this is beyond reason, my lord. It's outrageous. It's all very hurtful, you know. My lord, if I may comment. Go ahead, Lord Van Zeeks. It was the defense that incited this outburst from the witnesses. My learned friend has seen fit to abandon all protocol and accuse the witnesses without proof. Accuse? I never intend to. It seems, young Nipponese, that your command of the English tongue is wanting. You propose to this court that the victim fell through the skylight from the roof deck of the omnibus. That hypothesis cannot possibly stand without the rooftop passengers being aware of the events. You have branded these gentlemen liars. You have intimated their criminal guilt. In our British court of law, this is what is termed a baseless accusation. Nor has Rash put this idea forward without any actual evidence, but you can't just dismiss it without a second thought. What are we wasting time for? Get them to her. Testify. I thought there was something fishy about that hat from the moment I laid eyes on the fellow. We have to see this matter through now, one way or another. If there's filth and rubbish in our midst, we must dispose of it at once. What's happening, Mr. Nahodo? Spectators in the public gallery they're in a complete frenzy. Mr. Fairplay and Mr. First. My lord, you will take the stand again and make another formal testimony in reference to the incitement brought by the defense. Yes, my lord. I didn't come here for this. There's no time to think this through. All I can do is keeping pushing forward. Okay, typo. Okay. All I can do is to keep pushing forward. That's the correct sentence there. We were the only two people on the roof deck, dead or alive, I can swear to that. If anything had happened, where we were sitting, you think that one of other... hell, why am I failing? If anything had happened where we were sitting, don't you think one another of us would have noticed? In any case, neither of us know the first thing about the victim. We had no reason to kill the man. The skylight was shut the entire time, I tell you. We couldn't possibly have opened it. If you're so sure the victim fell through the skylight, where's your proof? I must say that, on listening to his testimony, it is somewhat hard to imagine how either witness would have performed any malevolent act on this open rooftop deck, without the other noticing forthwith. That's right, you see. We're innocent, I tell you. Although logically, of course, the argument falls down if the two of you were in collusion with one another. What? According to investigations by Scotland Yard, the two witnesses share no common dealings. Well, I don't trust couples any more than I trust the stinking rich. Something doesn't feel right here. The trial is going in our favor, really. So why do I feel so uneasy? Counsel for the defense, over to you. Your cross-examination, please. Oh, yes, my lord. So, you had never met Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason before? Oh, lummy, no. Not once. Never. He never met the man before, he said. Never. And you, Mr. First, had no prior dealings with the victim either. That's right, sir. I just don't have much to do with brickmakers, to be perfectly honest, sir. No, I imagine not. You see, how many different ways can I put this? Neither of us have the remotest connection to the gentlemen who were inside the cabin.
Excuse me.
Mr. McGilded. Yes, counsel, what can I be doing for you for? Did the witness' last statement give you pause for thought somehow? Not the remotest connection. Is that right? Now, I wonder. What are you insinuating now? Mr. Fairplay. 'Twas been too long, so 'tas. If I'm not very much mistaken, I believe 'tis fast approaching, is it not? Your payment date? I'll beg your pardon. You'll borrow 20 guineas from me, sir. At an unconscionable rate of interest. You tricked me. It's extortion. Well now, is that a touch of begrudgery, is it? The sort of begrudgery that might motivate a fellow to pass his crimes off on another? And young Mr. First? Me, sir? What do you want with me, sir? You do be making hats for a living, do you not? That there top hat sliding about on your head? Is that one of your own creations, is it? Oh, well, I'm still an apprentice, you understand. I'm learning to find the perfect fit for whatever fine gent walks through the door. The perfect fit, is it? Well, it is a very distinctive design, so it is. Many customers like it. Tell you, they like a distinctive touch. Customers, such as Thrice-Fired Mason? There was a photographic print of the victim submitted as evidence of horror, my lord. Oh, this you mean? I can't help thinking that poor fella's hat looks distinctly familiar, wouldn't you say? Oh. That's one of my hats. Aye, that it is. So it seemed the brickmaker was a customer of yours. A sort of customer, I'd wager. You could have had a wee quarrel with over the distinctiveness of the goods. Oh no, sir. Absolutely not, sir. Well, there's really nothing more to add. It wouldn't be right to say that the two fellas here haven't the remotest connection to the victim, you see. I rest my case. You little Lisa! He's better at this than I am. Gosh, Mr. McGill has certainly been thorough in his research, hasn't he? Please don't let me little interruption hold up the proceedings. Scarlet was shut the entire time, I tell you. We couldn't possibly have opened it.
Hold it!
Are you quite certain about that? That the skylight was shut the entire time? I'm going to lose my block with you in a minute. He's going to lose his rag with you in a minute. That's what he said. Take a look for yourself. Go on. You see, it's shut fast now, just like it was on the night. So it is, of course. A fella the size of Mr. Mason could likely break right through it, so still in all. What? Just looking at the size of the thing, you understand. Ah, now you hold on there a minute, sir. The size of the thing means nothing. Not on its own. Let's consider the bigger picture here, shall we? Let's stop biting our cane, shall we? I was riding the omnibus on another occasion when, well, I broke wind. Loudly. I shocked myself with it, as it happens. This is an unexpected confession, Mr. First. Oh, I just mean to say, well, the point is, I tried to open the skylight, you see. But just my luck, I couldn't make it budge. The stench was terrible. Everyone was looking daggers at me, sir. I went as red as rouge, I did. Are you expecting me to sentence you? Oh, no, sir. The point is, the skylight can't be opened. I tried when I was in the cabin. That cabin of shame.
Excuse me.
Do you have something to say about that, Miss Lestrade? Miss Lestrade! It opens. The skylight. That is what we're talking about, right? All them skylights open dead easy. More easily than you can load that weapon. That's a lie, I tell you. Otherwise, when I broke wind, you can't do it from inside, you mug. Oh. Look, a few weeks ago, I was up on the roof deck of one of them drags. And I had a great haul, I mean. I had persons coming at me ears. Mr. Lestrade, this is not the forum to be eulogizing on the subject of your criminal activities. Well, anyway, I had a bit of a scare. When I lifted the last bloke's purse, he got wise to me. All four of them surrounded me, so I couldn't hop off the bus and leg it. So what I did was I used the skylight, opened the catch and jumped right through. What? Yeah, the catch from the skylight is on the top side. That's why you can't open from the cabin. The skylight opens from the roof deck? Bailiff, climb up onto the roof of the omnibus at once and verify the witness's claims. Oh, my hat! Say? Order! 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 So it appears the street girl's statement is quite true. I don't believe it. The skylight opens, and from the roof deck, Mr. Naruhodo. This could be the clue we've been looking for. Yes, so let's go investigate that right quick. Okay, we have to, I have to use the mouse here. So, the catch for the skylight is on the top side. Yes, but it's not fastened at the moment, so we can slide it open from in here. Oh, what the hell is this? Yes, it is open very wide. It does open very wide, doesn't it? Wide enough to kick someone like you through, certainly. Why someone like me? Ah! What is it? Look, just here. Look at this. That's without a question. It's blood. Why would there be a blood stain there? Oh, dang it. I must have read Susanna's line wrong. Surely, it can't be unrelated to the case, can it? Well, counsel for the defense, please continue with your cross-examination. Yes, my lord. So the skylight opens. Perhaps I should investigate for myself.
Objection!
On the night in question, the victim was fatally stabbed in the stomach, and immediately afterwards the victim's body was pushed through the skylight into the cabin below. Those are the facts, and the irrefutable proof remains clearly visible in the omnibus that stands before us today in this very courtroom. What? That's utter humbug! You can't possibly have any evidence! No, you can't. I mean, we didn't do it, I tell you. It's impossible. Irrefutable proof. Here in this courtroom. Counsel, my lord, I believe everyone would appreciate a little clarification here, Where exactly within the omnibus is the evidence to which you allude? You'll point out what proves the victim fell through the roof deck, from the roof deck, through the skylight. Maybe there was a glitch in the game. Sorry, guys.
Got it!
By Jupiter, is that blood? Ah! This blood stain proves two things. Firstly, when the incident occurred, the skylight of the omnibus was open. What? And secondly, the victim was already bleeding when he fell through the opening. Oh my! And so it follows that Mr. McGilded, who was inside the enclosed cabin himself at the time, cannot possibly be guilty of this crime. No! Order! 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 But the blood could have sprayed up there where the fellow established at the cabin? It only found its way to the one particular spot on the skylight. Sure, and that would be very convenient. Duh! And let's keep in mind that skylight can only be unfastened from the roof deck. I myself wouldn't be able to open it now, would I? But, there's no way to know for certain, is there? If the jet really fell through the skylight, I mean. Why don't you have a good look at the floor of the cabin between the two seats, Mr. First? 'Tis all too plain, if you see. There's the aftermath that shows the poor fella dropped from a fair height right there, so it is. What? No! But it can't be. It's all lies! My fellow jury members, I think we can all agree that this is clear proof of the defendant's innocence, can't we? I believe we can. Yes, sir. It's clear to me now where the filthy rubbish can be found in this courtroom. So they thought they could pull the wool over my eyes, did they? I won't tolerate any of the guild's carriages being sullied with blood. I won't tolerate it. Oh, I always do that. Nice gentleman who gave us that delightful bar couldn't have done such a thing. On three then, everyone. 1, 2, 3.
Objection!
A chilling performance, Mr. McGilded. Oh, and what would you be referring to there now, Lord Van Zieks? A blood stain on the frame of the skylight. Such evidence is null and void. What? Why? For one extremely simple reason. That smear of blood never existed.
Objection!
What are you talking about? It's there for all to see, and it's clearly blood.
Objection!
I personally attended Scotland Yard's investigation of the omnibus. The officers involved went over the carriage with a fine-tooth comb. So I can state with absolute surety, no such smear of blood existed in the carriage, at least not until this trial began. But, are you suggesting, Lord Van Zieks, that the stain of blood was fabricated, my lord? Fabricated, my lord. Yes, and while this court has been in session. What? What a palaver. I must say I didn't expect such crude reasoning from a prosecutor of your standing, Lord Van Zieks. But I'm Magnus McGilded, a fellow known all over the capital for his fine contributions to public life. I don't take kindly to slander, and I'll fight it to the bitter end. Even if it's rolling off the tongue of the Reaper of the Bailey. Mr. McGilded, I realize that this is your first appearance in court as the accused. However, I am well aware of your involvement behind the scenes in a great many affairs of dubious nature. You're very adept when it comes to avoid getting your own hands dirty. And each time it happens that a case you're involved in is investigated, you adapt the facts. Adapt the facts? What does that even mean? When you wield a fortune the size of Mr. McGilded's, however ill-gotten it may be, nothing is impossible. Tampering with evidence, manipulating the scene of a crime, bribing witnesses. I toast your ability to concoct the most convenient of stories, sir. Tut, Lord Van Zieks, this will not do, to be sure. Will it now, counsel? Oh, no. I think it's fair to say, this does all sound like a rather far-fetched excuse by a desperate man. The blood on the skylight didn't exist, you say? But if you all cast your minds back, is it not true that the omnibus there has been in the courtroom the entire time? How could anyone possibly have put a smear of blood in it without the world and his wife seeing? Is that right now, Counsel? It's true. The omnibus has been in full view the entire time that court has been in session. My learned friend. Here's to hearing your opinion on this matter, in your own words. As you wish. Could someone have tampered with the omnibus during the trial? If you're asking me, I think it could have been possible. As a defense lawyer, it's my job to advocate for the defendant as best I can. But still, I feel as though there's something even more important at stake here. There is no evidence to suggest that the defendant did as my learned friend suggests. However, in terms of having the opportunity to carry out the alleged tampering, there is one possibility.
Oh, good gracious! Explain yourself, Counsel!
Yes, there is. It seems my learned Nipponese friend has no intention of running from this deceit.
Deceit?
I'm sure everyone still remembers clearly the recess that we were forced to take. As a result of the smoke grenade fired by the witness currently in the stand, Miss Gina Lestrade. What is going on? Be careful, Mr. Naruhodo. Cover your face! Bailiff, don't let the accused escape. Secure the omnibus.
I hereby call an emergency recess. Bailiff, ensure the defendant is in custody and clear the courtroom.
The courtroom was filled with smoke, and everyone was thrown into confusion. All of us were made to leave this chamber. In that brief interval, under the veil of smoke and in all the chaos, it could have been possible to steal inside the omnibus.
Are you wise?
What are you trying to pull, ye rotten feckless gouger? Feckless gouger? You're supposed to be defending me. 'Tis a wicked plot. 'Tis a plot to undermine me, so it is.
Objection!
Whatever you think this is, it changes nothing. The facts are the same. After this courtroom was evacuated earlier as a result of the smoke grenade, a number of inconsistencies materialized in relation to the omnibus.
Inconsistencies? Such as?
To start with, the storage compartment underneath the rear passenger seat. Sorry. When the police investigated the omnibus, this compartment was full of driver's items. Secondly, we have the smear of blood on the edge of the skylight. As I have said, that was not present at the start of the trial this morning.
Unfortunately, Lord Van Zeeks, no one is able to corroborate your claims.
That's true. When the omnibus was first wheeled out, both the storage compartment and the skylight were shut.
Accordingly, I'm afraid to say we cannot establish with any certainty if this evidence is the result of tampering or not.
Indeed, my lord. No doubt there was not a single person who saw fit to verify such things. What do you think? Sorry? About the omnibus. Is there anything else unusual about the omnibus? I have an inkling. My lord.
Yes, Counsel?
There is one further inconsistency. a mark that surely could not have been present at the start of the trial.
What?
What in the devil's name are you going to say now? If you dare to betray me, you little maggot, you better start watching your back. Silence, McGilded. The court awaits the defense's clarification. This trial keeps singing one way, and then the other. I have no idea what's the truth and what's deception. What am I supposed to believe here?
I shall have to ask you to elaborate, Counsel. Where exactly is the alleged mark that you claim appeared to be at some point during the trial?
That's blood, isn't it? Isn't it? Is something wrong? Oh, it's just, well, this bloodstain is so obvious, that's all. And yet Van Zieks made no mention of it. I suppose that does seem a little strange. Why do I have such a bad feeling about this? Oh, I was supposed to present it. We already read that earlier. And if we consider that the victim fell through the skylight onto the floor of the cabin, you would certainly expect to find signs of blood where he landed. But, as far as I recall, this bloodstain on the cabin floor was not there when the omnibus was first brought into the courtroom.
Good Lord! Yes, I do believe you're correct, Counsel.
Well said. Although, as advocate for the defense, one might say there was a very careless slip of the tongue. I believe that bloodstain on the floor is a decisive piece of evidence. But if the question is whether that evidence is genuine or whether it was unlawfully fabricated by someone, I feel compelled to admit that there's at least a possibility that the evidence is fake. Ah! This trial is over. Mr. McGilded, I've done everything I possibly can to cooperate with the court, but 'tis all over now. But you're the defendant. 'Tis over, I tell ye. Memory, recollection, what people think they saw. 'Tis all nonsense. Facts are what counts, and the fact is that bloodstain is there now. Well, and over the course of this desperate trial, long and extremely drawn out as it has been, that good-for-nothing Reaper of the Bailey has failed to present any decisive evidence at all. I'm scandalized, so I am. I thought better of Lord Van Zieks. Well, my lord?
I must concur with the defendant. The unaffirmed recollections of an individual cannot stand as evidence. At this moment in time, the particular bloodstain in question is very much in existence, and in the absence of any credible method by which to prove its alleged previous non-existence, I regret to say that it would be improper for this trial to continue.
Your lordship can't be serious.
Lord Van Zieks, what is your position?
The prosecution, my lord, has no further witnesses or evidence to present.
Very well. In that case, as I believe you have explored every possible avenue in this matter, I shall proceed with my education. As a formality, I am of course obliged to confirm with the defense first.
What formality? As things stand in the moment, it would seem that Mr. McGilded will be found not guilty. Yes. Which would mean we've won. Is that really the right outcome here? Is it really alright for this trial to come to an end now with all these unexplained inconsistencies?
Counsel for the defense, your closing statement, please. Yes, my lord. The defense believes the defendant could be guilty. I'm here in this courtroom today to advocate for the defense of my client, Mr. McGilden. However, at this moment in time, I cannot in all good conscience attest fully to the defendant's innocence.
What are you saying, man?
Without any question, there is no conclusive evidence to prove that the defendant is guilty. However, there is also no conclusive evidence to prove that he is innocent.
Good gracious me! Order! This is unprecedented behavior, counsel! A defense lawyer calling the accused's innocence into question? Are you sound of mind?
Oh, 'twas a grand decision to appoint you as my lawyer, so it was. A grand decision. What? I must say, I didn't expect quite such an exciting spectacle at the end there. But still, here, have this for your troubles. Your job here is done, fella. And some fine work you've done, so you have.
What do you mean?
'Tis just as the right honourable gentleman so succinctly put it afore. The trial can't go on any more. And your closing statement there was, how did he put it now? Not more than a formality.
I really don't know what to make of all this. What was the evidence we see genuine, or was it fake?
His lordship would be fuming. Any unsightly rubbish should be disposed of promptly, as I said.
The sticking rich are always guilty of something, you mark my words. I feel terribly ashamed that I ever doubted the lovely man who gave us the lovely park.
Now that proceedings have unfolded in this way, I am compelled to declare a premature end to this trial. Furthermore, the court must accept the defendant's plea.
I take you kindly, my lord.
I hereby pronounce the verdict of this court.
But we still haven't determined if the bloodstained omnibus is genuine or not. We don't know if these witnesses are telling the truth or a pack of lies. We have no idea about the truth.
Lord Van Zeeks,
my lord,
the case made by the prosecution was flawed, plain and simple. If indeed the omnibus presented as evidence was tampered with, the prosecution is at fault for allowing such a disgraceful perversion of justice to take place.
My sincerest apologies, my lord.
Objection.
But wait! When we were evacuated for the courtroom, Lord Van Zeeks ordered the evidence to be secured.
I'm afraid the prosecution cannot shun responsibility in this matter.
That's so unfair!
The culpability of the defendant has not, at the present time, been established by this court. Consequently, the jury will not be required to pre-offer judgment.
What? Bull crap, you can't... I mean, you can clear a mistrial, but you can't... Oh, well, this is the, need to remember, this is a somewhat historical. Well, Lord Van Zeeks, it's been a pleasure, so it has. And as for you, my dear fella, I couldn't have asked for a better defense.
Do you mean to tell me this has all been a grand waste of time?
'Tis the law of the land, my good man. If you like to pursue this matter further, you can always go ahead and try to change the law. Magnus McGilded. Good grief, you've more to say to me, have ye? Just one thing, a warning. This is far from over. We're something to be looking forward to, Ted. I hereby pronounce the defendant, Mr. Magnus McGilded, not guilty. That could have set this place on fire. I can't believe it! This is an outrage! They should have examined the evidence more! What are you talking about? The man's been cleared, he's innocent! With the courtroom in pandemonium for the second time that day, the judge delivered his verdict. My first ever trial in Great Britain came to an abrupt end, with the defendant being found not guilty, ostensibly a victory for us. Ostensibly. I'm so sorry this has gone so far over. I thought that we looked so close to the end of the trial, and apparently it was much longer than I thought it was going to end up being. That certainly was a long trial. Ah, yes, it was. Your first ever trial on foreign soil, and your first victory. It was a wonderful performance. My heartfelt congratulations. And to you, Mrs. Otto. Thank you for your assistance. I suppose we should be happy. The trouble is, we're so completely in the dark about what actually happened. Well, we didn't have enough time. But isn't it wrong? I mean, who is actually responsible for Mr. Mason's death? You don't even know that. Sole aim of the defense is to obtain a verdict that exonerates the defendant. You carried out your duty to perfection. Aye, that you did. Mr. McGilded. Ah, and that girl was with him too. Well, it seems the stories are true. Oh, what stories? About the 6 enormous fireworks they do be letting off when there's a verdict of not guilty. I'm sure yous must have seen them now. Spectacular, wouldn't you say? Yes, definitely. I'd heard it was a sight to behold, and to be sure it was. And I've you to thank, I suppose, for having an opportunity to see it. Oh, I don't know about that. I'm not sure I really did anything. What on earth are you saying, fella? How did I walk out of there a free man, then? I don't think it was so much thanks to me as down to your planning. You're a straight-talking fella, aren't you? I must say, you had me astray in the head there once or twice. But you're young and headstrong. Ah, 'tis water under the bridge. Congratulations, Mr. McGilded, on having your name cleared. Nothing's resolved. There's only one thing that matters to me. Oh? They've all seen that I didn't do that odious and abstinent deed. 'Tis grand, is it not? I suppose it is. Now the fine fellows of Scotland Yard can take matters in hand and sort out any wee details. They all see it for what it is. They'll get to the truth. I've absolute faith in them, so I have. After all, I do be providing a good number of their wages with all the taxes I pay. Oh, it's not that funny. So then, as we agreed beforehand, 1,000 guineas for your troubles, fella. Oh no, I couldn't possibly accept that much. Hara be wished. You're a humble people, are ye? You from the east? Well, if you insist. But have this. Still in all, ye deserve a reward. Mr. Magnus McGilden? Everything's ready, sir. If you'd like to follow me into the courtroom. Into the courtroom? What's this, officer? 'Tis sooner than I was led to believe. I hope it's not inconvenient, sir. There were some changes to the schedule. Well, I must be making tracks now. 'Tis time for the inspection. Sorry, what inspection? They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. They're going to examine it again? Now? Naturally, I'm under no obligation to take part in any more of this matter now. But as an upstanding member of London society, I'll be doing me best to help where I can. 'Tis a gentleman's duty, so it is. So then, fare thee well. 'Twas an absolute pleasure meeting yous. I hope ye have a whale of a time while you're studying here in Great Britain. There he goes. Free man. Oh, forgot she was here too. Don't move! Whereas I want to say, get a move on. She really does take forever to load that thing. Mrs. Lestrade, would you mind putting that thing down? You're a grown-up. Sorry. No, all grown-ups. Ah, there you are. Naughty, naughty, running off like that. I'm gonna try my best to do a young girl, but is this some kind of picnic? Who's this little girl now? And taking that with you as well? I was looking forward to the trial run of my experimental smoke grenade launcher. Ha! Oh, do you want to play? You won't beat me. Excuse me, but who are you? Oh, good day to you. I'm the inventor, I suppose, of that machine. The inventor? Well, normal smoke grenades are so dull, don't you agree? Why, white, and more white. If you have to be shrouded in smoke, it could at least be a pretty colour, I thought to myself. Do we have to be shrouded in smoke, though, at all? I just took my eyes off it for a moment whilst I was changing onto a different omnibus, and she pinched it. Luckily, I fitted it with a telegraphic beacon. What's it? What? I have no idea what this girl is talking about. Anyway, you're coming with me now, back to my laboratory. What for? To apologise, of course, silly, to my technician. What, you mean, say sorry? You must say sorry when you've done something wrong. Surely an adult has told you that before. An adult? I don't listen to no adults. Come along then, follow me or I'll blow your freaking head off. Fine, have it your way. Oh good, you see, I knew you'd want to do the right thing in the end. I'm fairly sure that was what she wants, is to not get shot by that massive gun of yours. We'll be leaving now then. Bye-bye. I'm so sorry for the fuss. She was a lively one. Well, do you think perhaps we ought to be on our way now too? Yes, you're right, but where to? Oh, we haven't had time to find a place to stay. No sooner had we arrived in London than we had to rush here. All our traveling cases are still with the bailiff. I was originally planning to spend today in search of lodgings. But at this late hour in the day, I'm afraid we may be out of luck. Don't worry, though. I have a plan. If the worst comes to worst, I've heard of a lovely park where we could spend the night. Please tell me you're not thinking of McGilded Park. I know it may be a little chilly at this time of year, but our youthfulness will see us through. I'm not so sure about that. I think a midwinter London night will freeze a young person solid just as easily as an elderly one. Oh dear, that doesn't sound agreeable. Now I'm starting to regret turning Mr. McGilded down. That 1,000 guineas would have paid for a lovely warm room, or mansion. And so, the trial to determine my worthiness for the study tour was over by the end of our first day in London. However, as we were soon to learn, there were more trying times ahead. Just as the Reaper of the Bailey had warned, the case was far from over.
What's going on? Get the fire brigade! Water! Bring water, quick! What the? How did this happen?
I don't know, sir. By the time I got here, it was already engulfed.
No one was supposed to be allowed in here before we started investigating. No. Oh, good God. There's someone in there. Oh. This can't be.
And, well, there you have it. Yeah, we went way over. I apologize. I forgot how meaty the end of this case was. But, anyway, we finished the third case. I am going to save my thoughts on this, case for the start of the next video, just because we've went so far over, a whole half hour. So, yes, thank you all for watching. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe to Brony Time for more content, especially more of the Great Ace Attorney adventures. Please share the video far and wide so we can have more and more people join us along for this ride. But until then, I will see you all next time.